There was a young player, John Hilton, aged 23, played at a local league level, but then a few things changed. He decided that he would go for a trip to Australia with a friend. His friend decided to settle down in a place called Perth. Not very popular with table tennis, but there a few things really changed for John Hilton. Firstly, he went into the club and asked these guys for a game of table tennis, a group of Malaysian students. The Malaysian students said, hang on, it's during the week. We don't play games during the week. We train during the week and we play our matches on the weekends. From there, he learned how to train. He also then learnt about anti-spin rubber and was able to then start to use anti-spin in a time where you could have the same colour on both sides. He used black and black and was able to bamboozle his opponents. Those were the building blocks that led to John Hilton's meteoric rise. Welcome to the PingSkills Show. Each week we pick a theme. This week's theme is Against the Odds. In the show today we will talk about the European Championships this year. We'll also talk about the 1979 World Men's Teams Championship final between China and Hungary. And now let's get back to John Hilton's incredible story. He wasn't the first person to use anti-spin, but he did revolutionise the way that it was used. So not only did he defend with the anti-spin, John Hilton started to attack. This was difficult to cope with at the time. Remember, at the time, they didn't have the black and the red rule. He had black on both sides. It was difficult for his opponent to tell which side he was hitting the ball with, whether it was with the live rubber or the anti-spin rubber. And so the ball was coming to them in all sorts of different trajectories to what they were used to. So here I have a black inverted spinny rubber and I have the red anti-spin rubber. You can see the anti-spin rubber, the ball really drops off and comes through slowly. And the black rubber is fast and the ball really zips off. So we get to 1980, 10 years after John Hilton first decided to go on a trip to Australia. He was selected in the England team for the European Championships of 1980 in Switzerland. Desmond Douglas was the clear number one in the England team. John thought of himself as perhaps the number 3 or 4, but he was going into the European Championships in good form. He played well to reach the quarterfinals, where he came up against the legendary Gábor Gergely from Hungary, who the year previously had won the World Teams Championships. He managed to get past Gergely 3-2. Managing to win that match, he now had some belief that he could go further. On the other side of the draw, things were starting to fall into John Hilton's favour. The number one from England, Desmond Douglas, went down to Josef Dvoracek from Czechoslovakia. Hilton wouldn't have liked coming up against Douglas, England's number one. Hilton's next match, Jacques Secretan from France. Secretan did not like the anti-spin play at all. Sekretan, a previous European champion and a player with great feel for the ball, but in this match against Hilton, he was all at sea, popping the ball up way too high and dunking the ball into the net. On the other side of the draw, Dvoracek advanced, beating Stellan Bengtsson. Bengtsson was a player who John Hilton later said he thought he had no chance against. So to the final, John Hilton from England versus Josef Dvoracek from Czechoslovakia. Hilton went in reasonably confident because he knew that Dvoracek didn't like his style. He won 3-0 and therefore became the 1980 European men's singles champion against all odds. So John Hilton here playing against Josef Dvoracek in the final of the European Championships. See there, Dvoracek getting very annoyed, losing the first game, 21-17. So Hilton attacking sometimes, that time with the anti-spin. And defending at times. Here you see Hilton on the defence in the rally, but varying the amount of spin on the ball and the type of spin on the ball. Dvoracek using his backhand, but then in the end, popping the ball up for Hilton to attack. Hilton, an early version of the modern defender. Legend has it that John Hilton won the European Championships and at the time was number 2 in England, number 3 in his county and number 4 in his local YMCA. Having a good serve can have a real domino effect on your game. Visit PingSkills.com. For this week's Remember When, we're going back to 1979. It was the World Teams final between China and Hungary. And against the odds, Hungary ends up winning the Men's Teams Championship. Legend has it that Hungary had set their sights on this men's team final against China. China was definitely the favourite with strong players, Guo Youhua, Lu Qiwei, Li Chenxi. But Hungary had a plan. They went into the championships with a secret weapon, the flick. The Hungarian players practiced the flick for months, knowing that the Chinese would not be expecting them to be flicking so much in that match. Why was the flick so effective? Firstly, the Chinese weren't expecting it. And secondly, they weren't as good at dealing with the flick ball. They were much better off the backspin ball and could really target the backspin ball and play strong shots. The flick proved effective. Against all odds, the team from Hungary of Gábor Gergely, István Jónya and Tibor Klamper were able to beat the Chinese players 5-1, an absolute thrashing. It was the last time that Hungary was able to win the World Teams Championships. And those three players have gone into table tennis immortality, all having bats named after them. Our tip of the week is how to play against anti-spin. So let's take a look at the effect of anti-spin. Firstly, with the live rubber, let's see how much backspin you can get from it. With the anti-spin rubber, same action, and there's no spin at all. The ball just sits there. If you rub the ball across the live rubber, you can see that it really grips. With the anti-spin rubber, the ball just slides across. Anti-spin reverses the spin on the ball. So if you give me backspin and I push the ball with the anti-spin, it's going to come back to you with some topspin. If I push with normal rubber, you'll see that the ball is going back with a little bit of backspin. So Jeff's putting backspin on the ball and I'm putting backspin on the ball. Now let's have a look at when I change to the anti-spin. The ball goes back with no spin or a little bit of topspin. So if Jeff pushes the next one, you see that it pops up off his bat and goes off the end of the table. Now let's have a look if Jeff is top spinning the ball and I'm blocking the ball with normal rubber. It's going back to him with a little bit of topspin. Let's have a look now at what happens when I block the ball with anti-spin. So I block the ball and it goes back with a bit of backspin and that forces your opponent to hit the ball into the net. So basically the anti-spin nullifies or reverses the spin. So let's have a look at how we're going to deal with it. If Jeff serves to me with backspin, it's going to come back to him with topspin and he knows that. So then he can get ready to attack the next ball. And that is a really nice, simple play when you're playing against anti-spin rubber. Another simple tactic then is to push the ball deep into the anti-spin rubber. It's difficult for the anti-spin player to attack that ball. If they push it, again, you know you've got a topspin ball that you can attack. Let's have a look at the play. Again, a nice simple play, getting a topspin ball that you can attack. So the anti-spin rubber gives you back what you have given it. So keep it simple. Don't try to put too much side spin on the ball because that is going to get the ball to wobble back at you. Keep the spin simple. Either play with basic backspin or straight topspin. And then you'll know what type of spin's coming back to you and you'll know how to deal with it. How do you deal with the ball after you've made that first topspin? Let's have a look at what Jeff does. So you'll see that after that first topspin, the ball is going to come back to you with a little bit of backspin. So you need to deal with that by lifting the ball more, or if there's too much backspin on the ball, then you can push the ball back. Our drill of the week this week is practicing your twiddle. So what is twiddling? Twiddling is just changing the side of your bat during the rally. Who would use it? Clearly, someone that's got different rubber on the two different sides of the bat and needs to change to get a different effect. So here we're not talking about having two inverted rubbers like Mark V and Shriver. We're talking about if you've got an inverted rubber and you've got an anti-spin or a long pimple rubber on the other side. So how do you twiddle? The first thing is to get the thumb and the pointer finger away, which will allow you to twiddle. So there we go, we do that. And then with a flick of the wrist, we change the angle. So there we go, thumb and pointer finger away, flick the wrist and flip the bat over for a good, fast twiddle. So you can practice this anywhere. You don't have to be in a table tennis stadium or have a table tennis table. At home, if you're sitting in front of the computer or sitting in front of the television, that's a great opportunity to practice your twiddling. And if you get really good, then you could go for the double twiddle, the double twiddle, the double twiddle. A simple drill on the table is to just start to twiddle between your anti-spin rubber and your live rubber. Get your partner to just hit the ball into the one spot to start off with. We're going to do one with the live, one with the anti. One with the live, one with the anti. The next thing to do is to do a backhand and forehand, but to do both shots with the same rubber. So we'll start by doing it with the live rubber. Then you can do both sides with the anti-spin.
For the tournament wrap this week, we're looking at the European Table Tennis Championships held in Budapest, Hungary. Now, Alois, some interesting results from this tournament?
Yeah, interesting results in both the men's and the women's. In the men's, I suppose the biggest highlight was that two French players made the final of the European Championships for the first time ever.
First time ever, wow.
First time ever, absolutely.
Against the odds.
Against the odds, that's right. And in the end, it was Lebechon from France beating Simon Gauzy from France. And the final was 4-1 in favour of Lebechon.
A bit of a surprise for me, Lebechon winning, but great effort.
Yeah, Lebechon, the older of the two players, but again, we've got the people that were the favourites. Ovcharov gone in the round of 32.
Who did he lose to?
He lost to Dias from Poland. So pretty bad result for him, losing 4-2. Then
are we too hard on Ovcharov?
Yeah.
We always talk about him not winning. I mean, it's just not easy to win these tournaments. Not many people get to become European champion, and sometimes I feel like we put a bit too much pressure on Ovcharov.
Yeah, perhaps we do. But I suppose we want him to win. We want him to succeed, and so tough for him losing in the last 32 there. Let's have a look at some of the other. Freitas seeded to get there, lost to Lebechon in the quarterfinals.
Okay.
Then
what about Timo Boll?
Timo Boll, in what might be his last opportunity, I fear, lost in the semi-final to Gauzy. So really good effort by Boll. He beat Harbachon in the first round, beat Pargarel second round. Tough match because Pargarel had some good results recently. Then he beat Groff in the third round. Then he beat Benedek Ola in the fourth round, and then came up against Gauzy and lost 4-1 in the semis. So, I really think that was probably his last opportunity for a major title.
Yeah, probably, but he might prove us wrong yet, but even if he doesn't, what a great career Timo Boll's had.
Yeah, certainly did. On the women's side, women's singles, so ended up with Malik Hugh from Turkey winning the women's singles.
There you go, Turkey. Well done, Turkey.
Yeah, and Yu Fu was the runner-up. So Yu Fu from Portugal. So we had Turkey versus Portugal in the final of the European Championships. Malik Hugh and Yu Fu. What do you think, Jeff?
It's interesting. They sound like very Chinese names to me.
Yeah, so Chinese-born players, obviously. But, Has it increased the level of popularity of the sport in Turkey and in Portugal? Perhaps. I think Turkey definitely. Portugal have their strong men's team as well.
They do, don't they? Yes.
So maybe not so much of a big deal in Portugal, but certainly for Turkey, for Malakhu winning the European Championships, that is a huge result for Turkey.
Yes, well done, Turkey. Excellent. All right, Alois. So, I mean, that's a pretty exciting tournament. Great to see the French just on the rise again. Are they going to be able to challenge the Chinese, though? That's my question.
That's always the question, isn't it? You know, I still think that the Japanese are the best placed at the moment. The French, well, they've done well. Sweden, we know in recent tournaments, has done well. So with Carlsen and with Pargarel. And
you mentioned Portugal earlier.
Portugal winning the previous European Teams Championships, you know, also on the rise. But can anyone take the step up to reach the heights of China?
I don't know, but we're all going to be excited when someone finally does, that's for sure.
And we've just seen in the recent World Cadet Championships as well, so it's just been played, that China didn't win either of the boys or girls events, but they didn't necessarily have their best Chinese cadet players either. So I know the boys team was basically the Shanghai boys team that competed and lost to Asia in the final. So yeah, is China still the powerhouse in 10 years, in 20 years? Let's see.
There you go. All right, well, that's a wrap of the tournament wrap. Thanks so much for watching this week's show. It's brought to you by PingSkills, so make sure you go to pingskills.com and check out all the great tutorials we have on table tennis. Hopefully we can help you improve your game. And a big thank you to Murrayfield Table Tennis Club for letting us use their footage of John Hilton. You can follow them on Twitter at MurrayfieldTTC. The music from today's show was Brontosaurus by Topher Moore and Alex Alana from the YouTube audio library. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep enjoying your table tennis.